Yeah, I mean, I think most of us all really enjoy the racetrack here in the facility. So it's been one we've kind of struggled at since we went to this car quite a while ago. So I'm looking forward to getting on the track today and seeing if we can do a little better. I think our short track stuff this year has been a lot better than it has in years past, at least at Martinsville, and Bristol was really good for us. So I'm looking forward to getting on the track and seeing if we improved our package for here.
All right, great. Yeah, questions for Matt? We do have the wireless mics for you. Give us your name and affiliation. We'll start with Kim, and then we'll go to David Newton, and then to Lee Spencer.
Hi, Matt. Kim Robertson. Kim Robertson, Insider Racing News. I just asked the same question of Jimmy. With Travis starting tonight, there's been a lot of attention of bringing the younger demographics back into the sport. My question is to you, what's your first memory of racing as a child? Why did it grab you into the sport? And kind of since you have a son that's, becoming a professional in this sport, how do you see the progression of the next generation coming in to NASCAR?
Well, I was standing there, so I heard Jimmy's answer, and mine's not really a lot different, I guess. So I think it starts with the kids going to the track with their dads, and that's kind of how I started racing. My dad didn't race at first when I was a little kid, but his three brothers did, and we just went out to the little local short track in Wisconsin, would watch them on Saturday nights race, and during the week we'd stop by their house in the garage where they'd be working on the race cars and stuff. So I guess that's where it first kind of grabbed me, is watching them work on the cars and build their own cars during the wintertime up in Wisconsin when there wasn't a lot else to do and snow was on the ground and all that, and then how they'd bring it to the track in the summer and race on Saturday nights, and the whole family would come out. My grandparents would go out, and my parents and my cousins and everybody, and we all sit in the same spot in the hill and watch them guys battle on Saturday nights. So really that's where it started for me, and it was something I always look forward to every week. So I'm not sure how everybody else starts and how the other guys or other kids or whatever kind of fall in love with the sport or become diehard fans and that type of thing, but that's where it started for me. I don't know. I mean, I could speak when I was a kid and how I fell in love with the sport and competition and motorsports and racing and mechanics and that type of thing. It's hard for me to really comment on the next generation 20 years later, what's going to bring them in. I don't know. I know how I got there and how I liked it. Going to the local short tracks, I think is where it all starts.
David Newton, ESPN.com. Two questions. First, what do you think of the announcement at Bristol on what they're going to do to the track there? And second, with 2 quiet weeks kind of in NASCAR with no wrecks, you expect all hell to break loose this week?
I hope not, especially I hope I'm not in it. But I don't really I didn't really read all the Bristol stuff that close. I seen a couple pictures that you guys tweeted out and stuff, and I didn't understand what any of that meant with all them red lines and stuff, so I was sort of confused. Maybe my screen was too little, so I don't really know. As far as I know, they're just taking some banking out of the top or something, right? Aren't they just grinding the top groove? Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it'll probably just take away some of the top groove. I don't know if that's good or bad. There were some guys that had to run. The good thing about the way it was is if your car was off, you could pick a different groove. If you're too loose, you could run really high, like I had to do most of the time there. And if your car was, tighter, you could run lower. So it probably just penalize if you miss by a little bit, which maybe is a good thing. Maybe that'll, open up some more passing. If you have to get your car to work in a certain groove. I don't know.
Go ahead, Lee.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. Congratulations on Ross's win last week.
Thanks.
Can you talk a little bit about, people are saying Roush Racing has become the Hendrick Motorsports in the garage, and how much does having drivers the caliber that you guys have on your roster push the other ones to excel?
Well, it's a lot different than when I first started at Roush Fenway, for sure. When I started, there was a 5-car team, and it was, Mark and Jeff were kind of over here, and I think it was, Chad and Kevin at the time were over here, and it was really different. Nobody talked to each other. Nobody shared information. They had their 2 little groups, and it was hard. So it's a little different today because the cars are almost identical. We share every single thing that goes on from, the second they start getting built until, the race starts and through the race and everything. So it's a lot different than what it was. It all starts with having fast race cars, and I think if you probably look at the last couple of years, all our cars run fairly close on the racetrack. You know, you don't typically you don't have a guy win and a guy run 20th and really miss it, you know. So it seems like we're all, you know, we either, you know, we're all closer to each other than I think you were in years past. But, you know, certainly I remember whatever year that was, '08 or whatever, and Carl won them 9 races, and we were struggling a little bit. That's always hard on a guy trying to get caught up, you know, wondering why you're getting beat by your teammate when you're supposed to have the same stuff. So I mean, it always, you know, drives you to try to do better, or try to be, you know, the best in your group. You always want to do that. Well, yeah, a little bit, but I think most of it's really NASCAR. Really, I think most of it's the rules package. You know, if you look over the last, you know, 5 or 6 years, you know, from the COT car with how tight all the templates are and how tight the tolerances are, and gear rules and dyno and engines and chassis dyno and cars, and bring the wind tunnel and bring it. I mean, there's just certifying chassis. They're just so close to all being the same. You know, it's hard to get very far out on a limb anymore.
Matt, Mark Davis, NBC 12 here in Richmond. Can you just talk about the track here at Richmond, what you like or dislike about it, and then what you guys are going to have to do to try to come away with a victory tomorrow?
Yeah, I can't think of anything I really dislike about it. So I think it's a great short track. You got a fair amount of speed. The track is real wide. Typically, it widens out a little bit where you get a couple grooves of good racing out there. So I really enjoy the facility. I really like the track. I think it puts on competitive racing. So I don't really have anything I dislike about the track. I'd like to be running a little better here. We've struggled a little bit here the last few years. We've had a couple good runs, but not running near as good as we'd like to. But I really like the track. Enjoy the racing here.
Okay, we'll go to Doug, we'll go over to Chuck, and then we'll finish up on our folks from Frostburg State.
Matt, with regard to Talladega next week, before the two-car tandem came to dominate, people used to complain that with the pack racing that drivers would spend, you know, 70, 80 laps in the middle of the race just logging laps, waiting for the last 10, 20 laps to be before they went. Do you think that's what we'll see again, or will it be something else, some form of hybrid?
Well, I mean, a couple things, you know, come to mind. It's not necessarily that I know what you're talking about. The middle of them races, you'd all get lined up on the top, but it's not, you know, at plate racing, it's not like one guy can decide, okay, well, I'm going to go past everybody and lead. You know, you just can't. If everybody's in line and you pull out of line, all you're going to do is have the line pass you until you get back up in line. So I mean, there has to be a effort of a fair amount of people trying to do that at the same time. And I know I've been in that situation. I've been in that line and maybe been 6th. Like, okay, I'm going to try to get this guy to go with you. And you go down there and you maybe get 2 guys with you and you lose 10 spots and you sneak back up in line. And you try that 3 or 4 times and all of a sudden you're in the back. And when you get down to the end or after a pit stop, when it all gets shuffled up, you're too far back to do anything. So, I mean, it's not like you're trying to log laps. You're trying to keep the best position you can farthest toward the front for when it does get crazy at the end. You know, and everybody's, you know, 3 and 4 and 5 wide them last couple laps, that you're far enough forward where hopefully you don't get in a wreck and you have a chance to win the race. So I think you'll see racing similar to Daytona. I don't know why it would be much different. Daytona has the new pavement, has a lot of grip, just like Talladega. I think we have the same rules package. So I would think you're going to see racing like you did during Speed Weeks.
Matt, Chuck Howard, NASCAR Media Group over here to your right. In light of your recent successes on super speedways, most notably Daytona in February, are you as confident in your team's super speedway package as you've ever been?
Yeah, I mean, this is probably the most I've ever looked forward to going to Talladega. You know, after our Speed Weeks was really good. Carl was on the pole for the 500, and I thought Greg had a really, really dominant car. We were able to win our qualifying race in the 500. So, I mean, I feel like as a group we've had throughout all Speed Weeks, we had really, really fast race cars, and without the tandem thing, you can actually, you know, make some moves for yourself, and you're actually racing against everybody else, which is fun and kind of refreshing for plate racing, I think. So this is probably the most I've ever looked forward to getting there. You never know what's going to happen when you get there. You know, you might be like Jimmy, just coming in here, you might only make 1 lap. You just don't know what's going to happen, but I'm looking forward to getting there.
Finish up.
Yeah, Matt, Madison Martin from Frostburg State University. With a lot of younger drivers getting involved in NASCAR today, how do you view the involvement of the younger drivers impacting the way that you race?
I don't think it really impacts the way we race. I think when you come in being a younger driver, I think you kind of, you know, these days you can probably learn a little faster than what you did then. You know, all the cars are closer to the same speed with all the rules and all that stuff. So I think you learn pretty fast. It seems like when young guys come in here, they're probably pretty much ready to go, and it seems like they're all with good teams and with real fast cars. So I think you just kind of learn from racing and probably watching some of the other guys around you.